Well, it's time for our special segment, Quarter Se Quarter Tak, and where we bring you earnings expectations from every sector. Vinny joins us today to tell us about what she's expecting from the pharma sector. Vinny, over to you.
Good morning. So today, in terms of pharma sector and what we're expecting in Q3 FY25, the pace of profitability growth for pharma companies in Q3 is expected to be slower than the previous quarters. And this is the previous 2 quarters that we're talking about. Now, for Q3 FY25, analysts are expecting pharma companies to see sales growth of around 10 to 12%, EBITDA growth of around 13 to 15%, while profits are expected to see a growth of around 11 to 13% during this quarter, driven mainly by operational efficiencies, INR depreciation, I beg your pardon, as well as a reduction in freight cost. Now, in terms of the moderation and growth that we're seeing and the growth momentum compared to the previous quarters is expected primarily due to the pricing pressure and a high base effect that is coming in. Sales for pharma companies this quarter is expected to be supported by growth that one will see in domestic business, as well as US markets is also something that will support the growth. But India sales are likely to be the key driver during this quarter. And among the large players, Dr. Reddy's can see a very good growth of around 10% during this quarter, while in terms of India business that we're talking about, Sun Pharma is also expected to see a 9% growth on a year-on-year basis. Mid-sized companies, whether you're looking at JB Pharma, Torrent and Mindgan Pharma, are expected to outperform with 11 to 13% growth, driven by chronic portfolios, while Cipla and Zydus on the other side are seen reporting a relatively weaker quarter this time. 6 to 8% YOY growth is what we're expecting, mainly impacted by supply issues as well as base effects coming into play for both these companies. Now, coming to closely watching out, and what is watched out is the US markets. The US generics are expected to see flattish growth due to the price erosion and lack of significant launches in the US market. 5% growth is what is projected overall in the US market for all these pharma companies, and that will be mainly because we'll be supporting the growth. What is it? The specialty business as well as scale-ups that will come in on that front. Moderation in terms of price erosion. That is a key factor to watch out for. And key product launches by some of these companies like generic Spiriva as well as generic Myrbetriq is something that is a key focus in the US market. In the US market, what we can also expect is Revlimid sales are now going to start becoming lower. So that will impact Dr. Reddy's, Aurobindo, Sun Pharma, Zydus, as well as Cipla versus sales booked in the previous quarter by these companies. Now, company-wise, when you look at it, Sun Pharma could grow in the range of somewhere around 8 to 10%, mainly led by the US specialty portfolio. Cipla and Zydus could see a decline in terms of growth sequentially in the range of 5 to 7% in the US business, mainly due to supply constraints. Dr. Reddy's growth will be supported by contribution that's coming in from the latest acquisition. This is the first quarter where we'll be combining this acquisition, so keep an eye on that one. EBITDA expected to grow in the 15% range YOY for the pharma sector. Overall, on overall basis, it's expected to remain flat on a sequential basis. Cipla, Dr. Reddy's are likely to witness margin contraction, while Sun, Lupin, DVs are expected to witness strong margin expansion this time. Commentary will be key from pharma players that will remain in focus. From Biocon, especially, they have got the clearance coming in for 2 of the biologics plants, so keep an eye out on that. Dr. Reddy's in terms of timelines of approval for new product launches, or Aurobindo Pharma in terms of progress of breaking even in penicillin G is something that they'll watch out for, and capacity addition. And also in terms of Cipla, watch out for timelines in terms of recovery for some of their sales and products is going to be a key factor to watch out for. Now, overall, while Q3 is expected to be stable quarter for the pharma sector, the growth momentum has seen a bit of a slowdown, and companies with diverse portfolios, strong execution in the US, robust India's business sales are the companies that will outperform overall in the pharma sector. And before we leave you all with what is expected in pharma sector, let's look at the valuation also, because valuation is very interesting. That what we are watching out for. Most companies are trading above or around the 5-year average, so quite high in terms of valuation, Nigel, and that's what we'll keep an eye out on.
Thanks a lot for that, Vinny. Well, let's discuss this in further detail. We have Sumit Gupta, AVP Research at Centrum Broking, who joins us on the show. Hi, Sumit. Good to see you in after a while. Tell us, what is that company that can give a positive surprise for Q3, according to you?
Hi, thanks for having me. Good morning. Yeah, so like overall pharma space, we expect within our coverage universe, so we expect around 10 to 11% kind of growth led by good performance in Indian pharmaceutical market, as well as subdued performance in the US market. So US market continues to be led by niche launches, easing pricing pressure, and INR depreciation also leading to some bit of growth. However, if you see from company-specific point of view, we expect Cipla's US sales to decline modestly by 3 to 4% due to supply side constraints in lenalidomide. However, this phenomenon is expected to be for this quarter. However, we expect from next quarter also it will normalize. However, if we expect Dr. Reddy's sales, so we expect that to grow at around 7 to 8%. So, and Sun Pharma's specialty portfolio continues to drive the overall US portfolio, and we expect around 15 to 16% kind of growth in the US segment for Sun Pharma also. Coming to the domestic market, we expect basically growth will be led by new launches or the in-licensed portfolio and the core brands. So on organic basis, we expect around 10 to 11% kind of growth. Let's say for JB Chemicals, we expect 11% kind of growth. However, with including the Ophthalmic portfolio, we expect 22, 23% kind of growth. So this is the kind of growth that we are expecting for this quarter.
Okay, all right. In terms of commentary, as Vinny said, that's going to be essential. Give us a couple of those data points, company specific. What's the commentary you're looking at? If there's any particular trigger that you're looking forward to.
So let's say for US Cipla, so how the lenalidomide or the specific key launches are there, and what kind of pipeline timeline that we can expect over the next few months or the few quarters. Or let's say for JB Chemicals, how they are planning, how they are expecting, you can say, how they're expecting their particular launches to go forward from here on. So it's very company specific to very drug specific and from company to company. Sun Pharma specialty portfolio continues to do well. So it will be very company specific.
Sumit, hi, morning. You have coverage on Aurobindo? If you do, no, you don't. Okay. Come off very sharply. It's basically back to previous lows of about 1150 or so from the recent high, about 10 days back, about 1350. So that is Aurobindo for you. Apart from that, we've had some fund managers we've spoken with talking to us, and this is beyond the third quarter. Maybe we'll hear some of it in commentary, etc. we've had in the past. Indian generic companies, pharma companies talking about the GLP-1 opportunity and how they plan to sort of go after it. Anything you expect to hear from any of the companies under coverage?
Yeah, this will be one of the key focus in the commentary for this quarter across the pharma space. So GLP-1 continues to be a good opportunity for the near to midterm. So we will see continued traction from analyst community too for the asking the pharma space, and overall we will see positive commentary on this.
Kind of commentary, and from which players and who is best placed according to you, Sumit?
So there are multiple players. So it's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and we see be it Reddy's, be it Cipla or some other companies. So there are various players which are coming.
Okay, all right. Various players which are coming. Just in terms of, we don't know whether this is really going to play out in what shape, form, etc. Do you expect, at least during campaigning, overhauling healthcare in the US was a big campaign promise, right? We've not heard anything on that front as of yet. Do you think, is that a question you get from investors at all, something to track? Or you think, it's really a non-event in that sense?
Yeah, nothing much on that side from the investor community as such. Basically, India, India's pricing is very attractive in the US market. So, I don't see much impact on the Indian pharmaceutical companies on the negative side. So I don't see any negative. On the contrary, it might be positive. So if there is anything which might come, and Indian pharmaceutical companies are very much positively placed in terms of pricing and in terms of volume share.
Okay, all right, Sumit, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll speak to you once we start to get some of these numbers out from these pharma companies. Okay.